Opportunity. Sir, the President's address to the joint session of Parliament has lost its significance over the years, as it appears that it has become an empty ritual, and the President's address, which is being discussed now, is not an exception to it. It appears that the President's address is something like a report card of the government to the parliamentarians. But at the outset, I can say, if one gives a cursory look to the President's address, it will appear that this government is not a game changer, but a name changer. As rightly pointed out by the honorable members, particularly the honorable leader of the opposition, as how the names of different schemes have been changed from the previous government's projects to the present government's projects. I don't want to repeat those. Sir, I quote from the President's address only one line: inclusive growth covering the poorest of the poor is my government's top priority. If we take it seriously, if the government takes it seriously, then the government ought to have considered the UN Millennium Development Report 2014, whereby the report has assessed that 40 million of Indian citizens are poorest of the poor, and they constitute 1/3 of the poorest of the poor of the world. This is the situation prevailing in this country, and still the slogan of inclusive growth is being chanted by the new government without envisaging any action plan, definite action plan to help these poorest of the poor who are living in subhuman conditions. Sir, we have heard this slogan over the years, and now a new slogan, maximum governance, minimum government, has been echoed in President's address, referring once again to the poorest of the poor. This will continue to be a hoax. This will continue to be a hoax, I repeat, until and unless the basic conditions of the poorest of the poor of our country are improved within a definite time frame. Sir, the President's address mentions about a government initiative called Himmat to ensure women's safety in Delhi. Sir, subsequent to Nirbhaya incident, what we find in Delhi, that the atrocities upon the women, particularly rape incidents of rape, are alarmingly increasing every day. And on the other day, even a Japanese woman was not spared. She was gang raped in a moving car in the national capital. What assessment the foreigners will have about the national capital of Delhi and the country as a whole when such incidents are alarmingly increasing every day? Sir, क्योंकि भारत की राजधानी में महिलाओं के लिए कोई सेफ्टी नहीं है, सारी दुनिया में भारत का छवि खराब हो रही है. Sir, the speech refers to legal reform and setting up of National Judicial Appointments Commission. This is another half-truth. This is another half-truth because the government of the day has not yet issued any notification about the setting up of National Judicial Appointments Commission, for reasons better known to the government, that there is no mention about the non-issuance of the notice for setting up of National Judicial Appointments Commissions in the President's speech. as a result of which the system which was going on for a long time over the years at the whims and fancies of certain judicial officers are still going on. And even in today's newspaper we have found that one High Court judge from Odisha has been elevated to Supreme Court, and the law minister has justified the earlier situation which is being continued even today without adhering to the act which has been passed by both houses of the parliament, that is National Judicial as yet. That is why the act has not been implemented. Now, secondly, so far the judicial and legal reforms are concerned, what about the judicial accountability bill proposed by the earlier government? What about judicial accountability bill? So much has been said about judicial accountability. In so many quarters it is being discussed, but the President's address is conspicuously silent about the judicial accountability bill which was proposed by the earlier government. Even those who are in the present government, they supported it like anything. Third, we always stress the need for administrative and electoral reforms, and I am sorry to say that there is no mention about administrative and electoral reforms in the President's speech. To our dismay, we have found that these matters have also not found any place in President's speech. Sir, the President's address has a tall claim about formation of Niti Aayog. After eliminating the Planning Commission, the Niti Aayog has come. I am having the copies of the 1950 resolution of the central government, resolution number 1, capital P within bracket capital C oblique 50, dated 15th March 1950. This is how the Planning Commission was formed by the then government, the first independent government of this country, whereby the Planning Commission was given certain powers to exercise, like not only to go for the planning of the country, but for some allocation, plan allocation also. But now, this Niti Aayog, it says, which has been formed on the 1st January of this year, it says that a group of people with authority entrusted by the government to formulate, regulate policies concerning transforming India. How the transformation will come, will be affected, there is no guideline. Anything has been said in the features contained in this Niti Aayog. And sir, it has been stated that all powers, financial powers about plan allocation now will be exercised by the Finance Ministry. Planning Commission was a separate body. They used to work independently, so far the planning is concerned and the plan allocation is concerned, and they used to make recommendations to the government, and government was empowered to accept any recommendation or not to accept or to amend some recommendations. So after several discussions with the chief ministers, etc., the Planning Commission used to formulate the plan of the government of India and to go for the allocation. But now, sir, the allocation of fund has been entirely given, power of allocation has been entirely given to the Finance Ministry. Now, suppose in a given situation, a political party X is in power and political party Y is in power in one of the states. The X party, which is ruling the center, and the Y party, which is ruling the state, are two different political parties, sometimes opposed to each other. Then it may so happen that the Finance Ministry of the Government of India, they may exercise their powers on political considerations to deprive that particular state, as it happens sometimes when we have enough experience about it. Therefore, propriety demands that the Finance Commission, which is a constitutional body, to look into the financial matters between the states and the center, that Finance Commission should have been given a permanent status by amending the Constitution, and all financial powers for allocation to the states ought to have been given to a constitutional authority like Finance Commission and not to the Finance Ministry of the central government. This way, this government has usurped the powers of the people in other terms. Sir, now I come to other points which has been referred in. Committed to stop generation of black money, both domestically and internationally. We have heard enough of it. We have discussed enough of it. Now I only tell a very small story. One of my distant relatives, who was a government employee, a lower division clerk, after retirement, I have found him that twice or thrice in a week he is going to the bank. I wondered why this gentleman is going to the bank twice or thrice in a week. So just I asked him that what is the reason for your going to the bank very often. He said that I am going to check whether in my account 15 lakh rupees have come or not. I don't know who has said this, but this is a story about the middle class people. This is a story of the general people of my country, because according to them, a very powerful gentleman assured that 15 lakhs rupees will be deposited in each and every account of the Indians, because they will bring back the black money from outside the country. And what is the reality? All we know. If it is a single individual, he said that whatever information I have given, leaked for Indian government, that is only 1%. If the Indian government contacts me, I can give him more 99% information about the black money deposited in different accounts outside this country. What is the neat result? Whether government has taken any action to contact the gentleman and to have more information about it. Even I put a question in this house and the reply was evasive. Sir, now the Namami Gange, another nomenclature. It's a Sanskrit nomenclature, Namami Gange. All right, nobody should object. We must go for Namami Gange. But the Central Water Commission, the government has ignored the fact. Even the President's address has not mentioned that the Central Water Commission of the Government of India has recently raised an objection. What was the objection? Because the Australian government, the Indian government has signed an MOU with the Australian government, which is effective from 2015 to 2020, that is for 5 years, that they will go for preparation of Ganga River Basin Master Plan, etc. for Ganga rejuvenation and Central Water Commission objection. Before the MOU was signed, the Central Water Commission categorically objected on the ground that India's water security would be at stake and the reason given why the national water security will be at stake, the reason given by the Central Water Commission was that the hydrological data of Ganga is classified. The hydrological data of Ganga is classified, and once this Australian government agency comes for this survey and other things, then all this classified information will go to the hands of the Australian government, and you can understand what is the impact. That is why not Trinamool Congress, not any other political party, not any other opposition party, but it is the Central Water Commission which opposed tooth and nail. But unfortunately, the government did not adhered to the valid objections raised by the Central Water Commission. It may be a quid pro quo. I don't know. Nowadays, something is going on behind the screen in Australia and India. So it may be a quid pro quo. I cannot rule out. Sir, I will take only 2-3 minutes more. The President's address highlights the visit of Chinese President and quote unquote the historic visit of US President. Sir, what we have seen in the aftermath of the visit of the Chinese President and the US President, on the other day, the Indian ambassador in Beijing was called by the Chinese authority to protest about the recent visit of our Honorable Prime Minister in Arunachal Pradesh. This is the outcome of the Chinese President's visit to India. That our Prime Minister, our Honorable Prime Minister is visiting a province which is an integral part of India, and objection is being raised by the Chinese authority by calling the Indian ambassador in Beijing. So this is the mutual relations that we have developed. वो दोले में झूले, साबरमती आश्रम में दोले में झूले, हम देखे टीवी में, सब कोई देखा, और उसका नतीजा क्या निकली? यही नतीजा निकला कि हमारा एम्बेसडर को वहां बुला के धमकी दे रहा है कि तुम्हारा प्रधानमंत्री क्यों अरुणाचल में गए हैं। अरे हमारा देश में हमारा प्रधानमंत्री कहां जाएगा नहीं जाएगा वो चाइनीज अथॉरिटी तय करेगा। ये हालत पैदा हो गया अभी, और हम प्रेसिडेंट एड्रेस में लिखते हैं कि देखो हमारा कितना रिलेशन अच्छा हुआ विदेशी राष्ट्रों से। So this is the situation. Now what about the US President? We all know what he has said. The religious tolerance, the age-long practice of India, religious tolerance should be maintained at any cost. And what is the program for maintaining religious tolerance? घर वापसी, घर वापसी। हमारे यहाँ से जब ओबामा जी अमेरिका घर वापस गए तो हमको कुछ सुझाव दिया और हमने घर वापसी प्रोग्राम अपनाया। वो घर वापसी प्रोग्राम क्या है कि जबरदस्ती किसी का धर्म को बदल दो। मदर टेरेसा जैसी एक महान व्यक्ति को बदनाम करो, ऐसी सारे कार्यक्रम इस रूलिंग पार्टी का जो अदर एसोसिएट्स है ये लोग ने। आई एम कंक्लूडिंग सर, आई एम कंक्लूडिंग। हमारा सरकार खामोश रहे, जब घर वापसी चल रहा है हमारा सरकार खामोश रहे। ऐसा तो बहुत बातें की जाती है, मदर टेरेसा को आत्मा को प्रहार की जा रही है और क्या ना क्या बात है। घर वापसी, ये घर वापसी है कि डर वापसी? डर वापस आ रहा है। गुजरात में जो हुआ, बाबरी मस्जिद तोड़ने का बाद जो हालत पैदा हुआ था, उस समय जो डर पैदा हुआ था वो डर अभी वापस आ रहा है। ये घर वापसी नहीं है, ये डर वापसी है। और इसके बारे में प्रेसिडेंट के एड्रेस में कुछ नहीं कहा गया है। सर, नाउ आई शुड लाइक टू कंक्लूड with 2 lines from a great poet, not from Bengal, not Gurudev Tagore or any other poet, but a great poet from Punjab who was respected by the entire country during his lifetime, and even today. Those who have interest in poetry, they always go through his poems. Sir, वो पर्शियन में लिखते थे, फारसी में लिखते थे, लेकिन उनको समझ में आया कि my poems are like wild flowers without any fragrance because the people cannot understand Persian. Therefore, he started writing in Hindi and Urdu, मिला के लिखते थे। क्या लिखा उन्होंने? बहुत जमाने पहले उन्होंने लिखा था, और मैं आई कोट फ्रॉम हिज काफ्लेट्स, इकबाल बड़ा उपदेशक है, इकबाल बड़ा उपदेशक है, मन बातों में मोह लेता है, मन बातों में मोह लेता है, गुप्तार के वो गाजी तो बना, गुप्तार के वो गाजी तो बना, किरदार का गाजी बन न सका। अनकोट। Therefore, अभी हम सुन रहे हैं बहुत भाषण, 40 साल से अधिक समय से मैं राजनीति में हूं, आप बहुत लोग हैं, बहुत भाषण सुन चुके हैं, बहुत भाषण हम भी दे चुके हैं, लेकिन जो लोग गुप्तार के गाजी बन गए वो अभी तक किरदार का गाजी नहीं बन पाया, लेकिन वो दिखा रहे हैं कि हमारा 56 इंचेस छाती है और हम भारत को बदल देंगे, और घर वापसी प्रोग्राम से हम सारे कौम को हम बदल देंगे। धन्यवाद सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।